Episode 19, Office Myths, the stories that organizations tell themselves. Every workplace runs on stories. Some are told out loud. We move fast, we hire the best, we always find a way. But others live in whispers. If you disagree, you won't last. We say we care, but we don't have time. Nothing changes here unless the CEO says so. These are myths, not lies, but organizing narratives. They shape decisions, behavior, even emotions. And they are rarely questioned. Myths are sticky because they contain just enough truth. They are crafted from moments, stitched into meaning, and passed along like folklore. A failed initiative becomes a cautionary tale. A charismatic founder becomes a legend. And slowly, these stories become the system. They don't live in documents, they live in tone, in who gets praised, in how risk is handled, in what's forgiven and what isn't, in who gets to speak first and who never speaks at all. Sometimes these myths uplift. We are resilient, we care for each other, we always bounce back. But other times, they quietly shut things down. You need permission for that. We don't talk about failure here. This is how it's always been. The most powerful myths are the ones on your website. They are the ones people tell each other over lunch. The most powerful myths aren't the ones on your website. They are the ones people tell each other over lunch, or mutter on the way out of a meeting, or joke about nervously when the strategy changes again. What makes these myths tricky is that they are collective. It's hard to see a myth when everyone around you believes it. It becomes water. You stop noticing that you're swimming in it. That's why so many teams get stuck. Not because they lack talent or vision, but because they are still living inside an outdated story. One organization believed deeply that they were one big family. And on the surface, this created warmth, but beneath, it made it impossible to give hard feedback or to set boundaries, to fire someone when it was necessary. The myth of the family became a shield against growth. Another team had internalized the myth of excellence above all. On the surface, it drove high standards, but underneath, it fostered perfectionism, burnout, and fear of experimentation. People hesitated to try new things unless they were sure they would succeed. Innovation suffered. And then there are the myths that we build around people, certain leaders who are seen as the saviors or the gatekeepers. Nothing gets approved unless she says yes, or he always knows best. These narratives distort power and stifle collective agency. To change direction, change the story. But how? Start by listening, really listening. What phrases come up again and again? What gets repeated in town halls or retrospectives or offsites? What are the sacred cows that no one dares question? And then trace the story backwards. Where did it begin? What event or person birthed it? What was happening in the organization at that time? How has the context changed since? And now ask, is this story still true? Or is it a relic? What does it protect us from? What does it cost us? Most myths were born to serve, but what served us once may no longer serve us now. Rewriting myths doesn't mean silencing dissent or forcing positivity. It means co-authoring a new story, one that holds more complexity, more truth, and more possibility. This work isn't about branding, it's about culture. It's about waking up from a trance. And it begins with the brave questions. What stories are we living inside? Who gets to tell them? Who's missing from them? And what might be possible if we told a new one? And here's the powerful part. Once a story is seen, it loses some of its grip. People begin to notice when it shows up. They can name it, laugh at it, challenge it, and slowly a new language begins to emerge. One leader I worked with began asking at the end of each meeting, what did we just reinforce? It became a ritual, a way to check not just what was said, but what was meant. What narrative had just gained strength? Was that intentional? Another team started collecting their myths on a whiteboard, inviting people to write down beliefs they had never dared speak. Some were funny, some were painful, but seeing them together broke the spell. It gave the team power to decide which stories were worth keeping. In some cases, old myths need a ceremony to be released, acknowledging them formally, thanking them for what they gave, and letting them go. This might sound theatrical, but in deeply entrenched cultures, symbolic acts can signal real change. Teams can then begin crafting new myths, not just slogans, but shared stories that reflect who they are becoming. Stories that don't deny difficulty, but invite courage. Stories that allow for imperfection and evolution. A product team might replace "we never miss deadlines" with "we learn faster than we ship." A people team might shift from "we protect our own" to "we grow with care." Culture isn't built from values posters, it's built from myths. The ones we inherit, the ones we challenge, and the ones that we choose to tell going forward. You don't need to fix your whole culture overnight. Start by tuning in. Pick one myth, name it, trace it, test it, and then invite others in. Because when a team sees the story behind the story, they become authors again, not just characters in someone else's tale. And that's where real transformation begins. What are the myths echoing in your workplace? And are they still worthy of belief? This is Giovanna D'Alessio, and you just listened to The Orange Twist.